So let's talk about the new Heliostat exotic mission that just came out today. So far, I've played through the mission twice. My first was just my normal playthrough, and second time was to get both the exotic catalyst and the intrinsic perks for the exotic axe. And I've also watched a couple of other streamers and content creators do their playthrough of the mission, like Astacross and Swetsicle and a couple others. And to be honest, I am disappointed in the mission. And it sucks because my expectations weren't even high. I was more so expecting an exotic mission on the level of the missions we've been getting recently, something like a Star-Crossed or a Kel's Fall or an Encore, which were pretty standard, in the prior years of Destiny, like the Year of Lightfall and the Final Shape and stuff like that. But instead we got a mission that's more on par with Vox Obscura, which is the Dead Messenger exotic mission, which released with the Witch Queen. And overall, a lot of people, including myself, consider Vox Obscura to be the worst exotic mission we have, at least in comparison to the other missions in Destiny 2. And so there's a couple of reasons why I feel like Heliostat is one of the worst exotic missions released in the game. And so in this video, I'm going to be going over a couple of the problems I have with the Heliostat mission and where my expectations are set going forward. But first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Donkey and welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below. We're super close, and I know we can hit the goal, so I'd greatly appreciate your support. But let's get into the discussion. So the first major problem I have with the Heliostat mission is the story. And I feel like the story, maybe across all of Ash and Iron, has been a major pain point. And I really think all the problems of storytelling in the game right now is really coalescing in this exotic mission because, to be honest, I don't really understand why the mission is even happening or what it's even about. Unlike previous seasons and episodes, there was always a lead up to the exotic mission. Think about the Encore mission, where in episode Echoes, we were going deeper and deeper into the core of Nessus until eventually we reached the center and we had to figure out what Maya was doing down there. So that's where the exotic mission came in. But with Heliostat, well, the story of Ash and Iron has been kind of an enigma. It's kind of in the ether somewhere, and it's really hard to decipher. And all we really know is that I guess Maya is after Golden Age technology, and she has brought Red Legion from an alternate timeline into our timeline to help her. And so we're heading into this mission because she's sending her troops to go do something. And so we're going to this Warsat facility, I guess, to stop Maya and her goals. But the problem is, I don't really know what the goal is with Maya, why she's doing what she's doing in this Warsat facility. It feels a little bit like Maya's the bad guy, and so we have to stop Maya because she's the bad guy doing bad guy things and don't ask questions. Because we just go into the mission, shoot a bunch of Cabal and a bunch of Vex, destroy a Warsat, which is for some reason the source of Maya bringing Red Legion from another timeline into our timeline. And then when we destroyed this Warsat, we get the battle axe out from a different timeline. And it's like, how does this all come together, right? I'm not seeing the connecting threads here, right? Why do we get the Iron Banner axe from the Warsat portal when the Iron Lords aren't involved, Siva isn't involved, we're just dealing with Vex and Cabal stuff? It doesn't really fit. And, another problem with the story is, I guess, Maya as a character itself and how we have been dealing with Maya as a antagonist. A couple of years ago, Bungie was dealing with the criticism of a couple of the villains we were fighting felt like the villain of the week, where it would be like, okay, we'd go deal with that guy and then they wouldn't really have any impact and we'd move on to the next and the next and the next. And that was one of the main reasons Bungie introduced the Witness as this main threat we were working towards dealing with. But Maya has kind of fallen into this trope of almost the villain of the day, where she feels like the main villain of like a cartoon. The main cast has to deal with the antics of the villain every single episode. And at the end, the villain's like, when I come back, trust me, kids, you're gonna pay. And then the next episode comes and the next and the next and the next. So every time we've dealt with Maya, we've interrupted her plans, and she runs away and it's like, next time I'm back, trust me, I'll win. And it's running into this trope of like, Maya just feels like a useless villain. She doesn't feel menacing. She doesn't feel threatening. And every time we deal with her, she just runs away and swears she'll get her revenge. It's kind of a not very compelling villain. And so we have this major problem with the story. And next we have a major problem with, I think, the overall quality of the mission and the creativity within it. So in the past few couple of missions, I feel like they have been pretty creative use of the environments they have been using. I think about the Kel's Fall mission, where it started off in the reef, but you went into like this mirror dimension and has really cool artistic expression. But in the Heliostat, it's basically a Spire of the Watcher 2.0, where you just go into a Warmind facility and it looks like a Warmind facility. And that's basically it. There's not really anything unique about the art style of this exotic mission, and which was a little bit disappointing. The only unique thing I guess you could say is the presence of the dead Siva in the first half of the mission, which I guess is the unique aspect of the art in this mission, but the whole second half was just Warmind related stuff, which isn't super unique. Not to mention the length of the exotic mission was very, very short. Honestly, when you got to the end and you beat the final boss, it felt like there was going to be more. Like we only got halfway through the mission at that point, or maybe like 2/3, and there was going to be another encounter with a better boss or something. But no, that was just it. That was the end of the mission. Not to mention the combat challenge of the exotic mission is overall not present at all. If you compare this, to something like Avalon or, Encore and Starcrossed, you're not really doing much combat. It's a lot of interact with this panel, go on to the next area. I felt like the enemy density was very lacking. There wasn't a lot of bosses. In fact, there was no bosses. There was the one boss and that was it. I don't know, man. It really didn't live up to what exotic missions have been in the past couple of years. And maybe that's my fault for setting my expectations that high, but I wasn't even expecting anything that crazy. I expected it to stay in the status quo, maybe be a little bit less, but it was just very, very underwhelming. And it makes me wonder if Bungie is trying to set new expectations. They're trying to lower the bar and say, listen guys, Destiny's on a skeleton crew. We're going to get less content. The content we are getting is going to be less quality. The story is not going to be very present in the game anymore outside of these major expansions that release twice a year. And they're trying to lower our expectations to basically the ground floor. And it is kind of hard to accept this new reality where things are probably till after Renegades are going to be lower quality. It's going to be less content in general. And we'll see if things pick up after the launch of Marathon. I think it's very clear that Marathon is taking a lot of resources at Bungie right now. If Marathon sinks, I think Bungie sinks. Bungie spent a lot of money on Marathon. They've spent a lot of resources on Marathon for many, many years. If it fails, the studio is going to fail. And so Bungie is saying all hands on deck on Marathon, and they're putting Destiny on a skeleton crew. To me, what it feels like is the best thing that can happen to Destiny is that Marathon succeeds. That's scary to me because I don't know if Marathon's going to succeed. And even if it does, it's like, how do we know that resources are going to come back to Destiny and we'll go back to the way things used to be in terms of quality of content? Listen, I've been playing very little Destiny recently. I hop in every now and then for a raid with the clan just for fun or to do the new mission. And I might check out Festival of the Lost when it comes out, even though my expectations for that are in the dirt at this point. But I'm honestly fearful for the future of this game because we're hitting all-time low player numbers. We don't know how bad numbers were in Curse of Osiris. We don't have the player numbers for that. I can't imagine we're that far off at this point. Bungie, I think, is panicking. They're trying their hardest to get players to stick around for Renegades. They just announced power level isn't resetting in Renegades and we're keeping our unstable cores. I think Bungie's in a lose-lose scenario because I think if Bungie resets power level in Renegades, then players are just going to show up for the campaign and then they're going to leave because they don't want to deal with the dang power grind. But if they don't reset the power level, how are they going to keep all these players occupied for 6 months with the level of content they're currently producing? And so I really think things are going to get worse before they get better for Destiny. I expect more and more all-time lows. A streak, especially during the month of November, I'm expecting things to look really, really bad in terms of player numbers. We'll see what happens. There's not much Bungie can do really at this point. They just have to show results, and players will come back, I think, if they do that. But as of right now, I don't have a lot of confidence. But you know what they say, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, I guess. Here's hoping. But yeah, that's all for me, guys. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. If you enjoyed the video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribed. But yeah, that's all for me. And I'll see you guys in a new video coming soon. Peace out.